Hi, it's me, Julie Fei-Fan Balzer, and I'm here with Andrea Chebeleu, who is the owner of a Work of Heart studio. And Andrea, I think that's how you and I actually first met, is when you invited me to come and teach at your store.
Exactly. I think the first time you taught for me was in the space that I was in right before the one I'm in now. So it's been a while, but yeah, that was so awesome getting to. I think I picked you up at the airport in San Francisco, and we got some time to chat and get to know each other in the car several times. Yeah.
I have to say, so for any of you who haven't been out to see this amazing store, Andrea, one of the things that I've always loved about your store is that, like, I think you're really innovative in terms of the way that you merchandise things and put things together to make it easy for people to understand, like, how to shop, which is not always intuitive when it comes to art supplies. And I know you actually do a lot of, especially pandemic wise, of kind of like kits and stuff that people can actually buy online in case they can't actually make it to your shop.
Yeah, that's been a huge part of, I really resisted that. It wasn't really my superpower or strength before March of 2020, but, necessity is a mother of invention. Is that what they say? I have learned to love putting kits together. And so now I get to do it not only for my classes, but classes that I collaborate with. And other teachers will contact me to put a kit together for maybe a challenge that they're doing or things like that. I love it. Yeah.
I think the other day on Instagram, I saw you filling, was it watercolor pans?
Yeah. So we have a couple of 3D printers now. We've got a huge laser cutter, and so I'll do custom, stencils for classes, and then yeah, those watercolor pans are for an upcoming challenge that a friend of mine, Allie Manning, is doing. And so, I just fill them with enough watercolor to get through the project. But they're great little travel tins.
Well, I was going to say, it's always so interesting because I think kits get a little bit of a bad rap sometimes, right? I think people think that they're like forcing you to make the project like the teacher or something
Oh
like that.
no, yeah, this is not like that at all. This is just so that you can have a tiny taste of, let's just say, brusho crystals before I go out and buy, like most of us want to do. Like, I want 12 different colors. I will send, in my kit, it's going to be enough in a water spray bottle that you can activate it with water and use it, but you don't have to buy the whole container. Same thing with the Daniel Smith watercolors. Is like, I put a tiny bit. You're not having to buy a $16 tube so that you can have the color that the teacher suggests, but you can have, like an array of sample sizes of things. So those are my kits. Like, I put smaller portions, or, you know, things
It's
like that.
almost like an art supply taster box, like all these sort of
Exactly.
subscription box, except you don't end up with a subscription. You just get the taste of whatever it is the teacher is offering.
Exactly. You'll have everything you need at hand. And I am not a teacher, or no, nor do I necessarily make kits that are like, it's like a paint by number. You're going to be making exactly what I do, put you in a yellow circle, upper left hand corner. God love them, those paint night people, but that's just not my jam. And so it's more of you're going to make what you make uniquely, but I'm going to give you the supplies that you need to do whatever you want.
This is 100% a philosophy that I absolutely have as well, which is people have to bring themselves to the project. And I know that you do a series called Under the Influence. Will you
Yeah.
tell people a little bit about that?
Oh my God. I love Under the Influence so much. And people usually, it's a very provocative name. So people are like, huh? But what we're doing is we're working under the influence of an artist like you, Julie. If we featured you, we're not going to be copying your project, but we're going to be looking at your art and the way you create things and share them online. And what I do is I help the participants look at it and break it down, like, huh, it looks like she did this, and let's see what supplies I have so that I could try something similar to that. It's really just this breaking down and noticing the art principles that you may be using, right? And so we notice together. We're present together as we're looking at the beautiful feed of beautiful art that you share. there is a value in learning how to notice things and just looking, right? And so I'm just your tour guide as you go through the process of noticing things, and then trying to, I always use the analogy of, we're going to a chef's beautiful restaurant, and the chef is preparing us a delicious meal. When we go back to our home kitchen and we prepare that meal, we're going to reach into our own pantry and grab things. And so what we're doing is we're sampling your beautiful, you know, whatever course meal. But when we come back, of course, we're not going to replicate it exactly, but we're going to take a few of the ingredients that you use and we're going to use them in our own cooking. And so that's the same thing with our art journals, that we get to sample the beauty that you create and then just try a few things to incorporate into our own work.
I think that's so important. I think people get caught up in this idea that they want to make art that looks exactly like somebody else. And I think it's like, A, you're always going to be a pale copy of somebody else. So why would you do that? Right. And B, like, you're so unique and special and interesting with the stuff that you have, the way you do it. And I think cooking is always such a great analogy, because people can understand that if you watch, let's say, a chef from a totally different region or country or area than you, they have access to ingredients that you don't, but you have access to ingredients that they don't. And the magic is when you sort of take their ideas and techniques, but filter it through the things that are available to you. I mean, and I think art is so much the same way.
Yes. Yes, so much. I got goosebumps when you were talking, because that's exactly it. That's exactly it. And what I want to do is help people have the courage to look at something that they're just like, "Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. I could never do that." And just break it down little pieces. Maybe they're absolutely they're not going to be able to reproduce something that somebody spent decades, finessing their technique, but you can definitely take little ingredients out of it and try it and be like, "Oh, I love that. I want to use that more in my own artwork."
So, one of the things about you that I think is interesting is I think of you as sort of an art empowerer and enabler, which is to say, you do an enormous amount of teaching. You do an enormous amount of sort of helping other people. You also promote a lot of other people and are happy to, share and sort of fan out about other people and all that kind of stuff. And yet at the same time, you're obviously an artist with your own like point of view and journey. And I was wondering if you would just talk a little bit about yourself, which I feel like you don't always necessarily do, and kind of where you are right now in your art journey and what you're interested in working on.
Oh, thank you so much for asking that. Yeah, it's owning a shop and bringing teachers in. Definitely, I felt like I was a shadow artist for a long time. Like, I'm happy to facilitate and all of that, but coming into my own as an artist, I am not afraid of color. As you can see, I get that from a lot of the great artists that I have worked under over the years. And so right now, I'm just trying to finesse that down. What I really admire in some abstract artists is their ability to practice restraint. And so that's where I'm working right now, right? I look at, yeah,
Not my
I,
strong suit.
well, but there's a beautiful way yeah. So that's what I'm working on right now, is just, learning more about what I'm doing, and when to stop, or when to cover something up. Like, I don't fear covering things up when I work big canvas like this in the background. It's like, I know I'm going to cover most of it up and cut it up and rip it up and all of that. But yeah, so I look at artists. I'm still inspired every day by other artists, and just learning more techniques and how to practice restraint.
I think it's an admirable goal. I think about it often and I never achieve it. But there you go. So let's talk a little bit about what you are teaching for the Artful Holiday. I haven't seen your video yet, so I'm excited to hear what you've got planned. Will you give us a little bit of sort of your holiday and what you were thinking about and sort of where you went with it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I wish I had a finished sample to show you, because I need that pressure of a deadline. And so I've got it halfway done right now, sitting in front of me. So I'm not going to hold it up, because then that'll, anyway. So I chose Earth Day. I chose Earth Day. Not really a super celebrated holiday, but I think it should be, because I think that we want to love on our planet and be here as long as we can. And so that focus on recycle, repurpose, reuse. So Earth Day, and I'm having you use. Well, here, I'll show you a part of what we're doing. I'm having you use good old toilet paper rolls or paper towel rolls. And we're going to make some fun containers that could either be for candles or for little potted plants or, desk debris, as I call it, like little scraps of paper or little things that I like to use. So just recycling materials into something that looks very elevated, something that I would buy in Anthropology or whatever. But, being able to incorporate my own artwork to decorate it. But the process of it is so fun, and I love the fact that I'm keeping something out of a landfill. So
You had me at toilet paper tubes. I think you can't
okay,
throw them away ever.
right? No, never.
So let me ask you what I'm very curious about this. What was your first reaction when I invited you to teach for the Artful Holiday?
I was thrilled, honestly, because I have been saying I always reach out to other people for collaborating, and I'm like, I want somebody to reach out to me and ask me to collaborate with them. So I was just like, oh, the universe listened. So
That's awesome.
I was thrilled and honored and excited, and then even more so when you explained a little more about what we're doing. I'm not a super holiday-y like decorator, which is surprising for some people because a lot of times artists are, and it's just not my jam really. And so I love the fact that you opened it up to all holidays or celebrations or whatever, and like we could pick our own, so wasn't pigeonholed into the super
Mhm.
traditional ones. And I love some of the ones that the other people have picked as well, the other artists. And I love the fact that it's your whole concept of like, what does an artist give at a for a gift around a holiday or something like that. So I love every bit of this. I'm so super excited to see what everybody else does, and I'm just thrilled to collaborate with you. It's like I said, it's such an honor and a joy.
Well, I'm delighted that you're participating. And I have to say that, like, almost universally, the reaction to the invitations I sent out was, I don't really do holidays.
Yeah.
So you're not alone. And I feel like it's one of the reasons that this class needs to exist, because it's really about, how do we go beyond sort of some of the negative connotations of getting crafty or like something that you just don't want to do, and how do you as a fine artist give to other people gifts of art, or like find a way in your home to like look at the things that you love and have it feel like a holiday. I think COVID for me, and maybe because I have a little one at home too, has really made me want to make like holidays feel different than regular days. It has made me want to like reach out to other people by giving things that like matter to me and aren't just like things I bought on Amazon.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I feel like this class for me really came out of all of that. So I'm so excited to hear that you're not a holiday person, because
I'm
that
not
means
a
you're
holiday
like
person. Yep.
everybody else who said, I don't want to do this, but I'm gonna.
Yeah. Well, I did want to
Awesome.
do it, and I'm gonna. But yeah, I like the fact that it didn't have to be, oh, Valentine's Day or Christmas or yeah.
Yeah, there's so many holidays to celebrate. And I think somebody, I think it was Mary Beth Shaw said, which I thought was a fair point. She said, if you make it a gift for somebody, it's every day is a holiday. Like as
Exactly.
soon as you do that, it feels like
Yeah.
holiday time.
Super
Well,
special.
if people want to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Um, I would say if you're an Instagram person, I'm a work of heart studio on Instagram. And then there's all the links are in my link in that. Otherwise, aworkofheart.com is my website.
Cool. And you can definitely catch Andrea's mystery toilet paper tube container class as part of the Artful Holiday, which begins on August 1st. You can find out more information about that at balzerdesigns.com. And thanks so much for joining me, Andrea.
Thank you, Julie.